correct initials for that, and then the solar. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Delaware Public Service Commission meeting of June 4th. We have the reading of the meeting minutes of May 14th, 2025. Does any commissioner have any changes or corrections to be made to that document? Commissioner Gray,
I move that we adopt the minutes as submitted.
Second the motion.
is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Reflect that was unanimous.
I will abstain. I was not at the meeting.
Abstention. And we have the consent agenda. Anybody want to make any?
Public comment.
Oh, okay, we'll do that. Look, is there anybody here from the public that wishes to make comment? Okay, consent agenda.
I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second the motion?
Is there any discussion? The only discussion that I can think of is that I was very happy to see the community solar on the consent agenda. So Tricia is not here yet, right? So I'll make some further comments when she's here. But it's nice to see that the progress that Delmarva Power has made and that with the staff's help in that regard. So it's nice to see that. And did you make a motion, right? So we had a second and we had no discussion. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstentions, that's unanimously approved. Thanks, Trish, come on forward. If you just stand up here in front of the bench, I'd appreciate it. So Trish and I, just remain standing, please. Trish and I and Joanne, and I'm not sure anybody else was there. Joe Conaway was there as well. And we went to the ribbon cutting for ECA Solar. That's the correct name. The governor was there and spoke. And I got, for some unusual reason, some praise. But what I want to say is that there were quite a few people there from ECA and other Delmarva Power and Light. Amber was there. And everybody I spoke to said, what a great job Trish Gannon and Matt Hardigan did working on that solar farm. And I just wanted you to stand, and who else? Yeah, Brian and Nate, great. Well,
Are crunching those contracts, Cons.
okay, so they did a good job. We got the consent agenda matters I mentioned in your absence. And Delmarva, I think, deserves some praise as well because the connection issues have lessened and it's getting more and more efficient. But I think a lot of the praise goes to Trish and her group, and Matt, as recognized by the people that I talked to at the meeting. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Commissioner Gray.
I just want to recognize and follow up, Mr. Chairman, that it reigns as a shining example that others should follow. Thank you.
So those words will reflect well in the neighborhood. Hearing schedule. Number one, in the matter of the application of Delmarva Power and Light Company for approval of modifications to its gas cost rates. We've got proposed settlement here, and we have order number 10729, and yeah, I did do that.
Yeah.
I'm really on the ball today, I tell you. Okay. We better not skip that. Yeah. I got it. Yeah, no problem. Okay, number one is in the matter of the adoption of regulations for community energy facilities to implement the provisions of the Delaware Code as amended, and we have PSC regulation docket number 3013. And I think we have Ms. Workman. Kate? take it
Kate
away.
Workman, First Staff. Staff petitions the commission to reopen Regulation 3013, which is codified at 26 Delaware Admin Code, Section 3013, which regulates community energy facilities. Staff has received some complaints from customers and concern from the Renewable Energy Task Force regarding the solicitation practices of community energy facilities and their agents. Staff wants to reopen Regulation 3013 to hold one or more workshops with interested stakeholders to amend the rules in a way that protects consumers but is still fair and reasonable to the community energy facilities. Staff therefore respectfully request the commission reopen Regulation 3013 by approving order number 10723. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else who wants to speak on that? I don't believe so. Commissioners, do you have any questions with respect to this matter? Commissioner Conaway?
Move that we adopt order number 10723 as presented.
I second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All voted aye. So there's no noes and no abstentions. Motion carries. We have number two is in the matter of the application of Chesapeake Utilities Corporation for approval of energy efficiency programs for natural gas customers and rate recovery mechanism. And we have Mr. O'Brien to present that.
Thank you, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. Bill O'Brien on behalf of Chesapeake Utilities Corporation. You have before you proposed order number 10724, which would grant Chesapeake's request for a one-year extension of its energy efficiency program, which was approved by the Commission last May in this docket. And the request is to extend one more year under the 2025 approved annual budget and program terms. So the current cycle, which was approved as part of a settlement agreement in this case, goes from 2023 to 2025. That was the cycle that was originally recommended by the EEAC several years ago. But Chesapeake did not get started on this in full force until the fourth quarter of 2024. So given the program's late start, Chesapeake is seeking to extend the existing program for 1 year with the same three programs and budgets. The proposed extension will allow Chesapeake to obtain a full 2 years of program experience to work out program tracking and reporting, including the input of the Energy Efficiency Working Group, as outlined in the settlement that was approved that set the terms of this program. So the settling parties were DPA and staff and Chesapeake, and that's also the members of the Energy Efficiency Working Group who supports this request. So the extension would also align the energy efficiency programs of the other regulated utility, Delmarva Power, that has an energy efficiency program, so that they're on the same 3-year program cycle. So after the working group indicated its support for this extension, Chesapeake sought and received endorsement of the extension from the Energy Efficiency Advisory Council at its April 9, 2025 meeting. So Chesapeake would like to thank staff for putting together a memo on this issue and the DPA for supporting this request. And with that, we ask that the commission adopt proposed order number 10724.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. I have a question. I know it's early. I know that was just last quarter, but it's a little, I'm not sure how to say it, a little disquieting, I guess, that there were 29 persons who engaged with you guys last quarter or so at a cost of $107,000. So my math isn't too good, but that's a large number, like $3,500 per per customer. And the megawatts or the the savings weren't that great either. So it looks like you have a challenge ahead of you in terms of trying to make improvements. What's your observations on that?
Well, a lot of that money, Chair, is for the prep work since, this has been years in the making, without any recovery. And so that first initial filing did have the prep work involved. And, we certainly expect to catch up with that. The 29 participants were at the end of 2024, which was included in the report we filed for 2024. Just last week, we did file a quarterly report for the first quarter of 2025. The number of participants are up to 40. I know that's not earth-shattering, but we are moving in the right direction and certainly expect that this overall savings will be exceeding the overall cost of the program.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Yes, I have a question, Mr. O'Brien. Do you anticipate this program continuing past 2025?
Well, that would just be subject to discussions with staff and the DPA. Certainly, if it looks like we're not catching up to the savings to the cost, then maybe it will end. This was something that the state law required Chesapeake to participate with the EEAC. This was years ago. We put together a proposed program. EEAC recommended it to the commission. Staff and DPA changed it a bit through discussions with Chesapeake, scaled it down. In theory, the next time around, it could be scaled down to nothing, but certainly we expect to keep going.
Mr. Ferguson?
Thank you. Stephen Ferguson on behalf of staff. Staff does support Chesapeake's request to extend. Given that the program did not start until 2024, one-year extension through 2026 will allow Chesapeake to hold 2 years of program experience, provide a more accurate depiction of the program, and also allow Chesapeake to make adjustments to support its energy conservation according to the direction of the state. Also, as Mr. O'Brien stated, the one-year extension also aligns the energy efficiency programs, the regulated utilities in the state of Delaware program cycle. For those reasons, staff does recommend the 107.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Crumpler?
The DPA echoes staff's comments that we are in favor of this order, the extension. I think Chesapeake's proposals and their actions here are entirely reasonable.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt order number 10724 as submitted.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous vote, aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Number 3 is in the matter of the application of Artesian Water Company for approval of a revision of rates assessed to the town of Chesapeake City. And we'll have Ms. Emerson here to speak on behalf of Artesian, and we see a tall member of the Artesian staff here ready to jump in if she needs help.
Yes, Mr. Staked, our CFO, is here. Good afternoon, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. Courtney Emerson on behalf of Artesian Water Company. I'm here today on PSC docket number 250349, respectfully requesting that the Commission enter order number 10727, which would permit Artesian to charge revised interconnection rates to the town of Chesapeake City, Maryland, effective June 4th, 2025, today's date. Artesian has a purchased water contract, also known as an interconnection agreement, with Chesapeake City for water delivered via the water connection, which is located in Delaware on Chesapeake City Road at the Maryland-Delaware state line on the Delaware side. Under this contract, the price Artesian charges Chesapeake City for water under the interconnection agreement is equal to the rate assessed to Artesian by the Chester Water Authority, or CWA, plus a transmission fee of 20% of such rate. The rate which CWA charges Artesian includes a fixed per 1,000 gallon charge assessed by the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, or the SRBC. On September 30th, 2024, CWA notified Artesian that because of CWA's increased costs for water treatment, operations, and infrastructure, CWA must increase Artesian's rate. The new rate charged to Artesian by CWA is $4.12 per 1,000 gallons, plus the consumptive use charge of 33 cents per 1,000 gallons assessed by the SRBC. Therefore, Artesian proposes to increase by contract the interconnection rate for Chesapeake City from $4.968 to $5.340, so $4.96 to $5.34 per 1,000 gallons. The proposed new rate reflects the change of 31 cents per 1,000 gallons charged by the CWA, plus the 20% transmission fee. Artesian would like to thank PSC and DPA staff and their respective counsel for their efforts in reviewing the application and preparing the draft order, and respectfully request that the Commission enter order number 10727.
Thank you very much.
Kate Workman for staff. Staff supports the company's application for revised interconnection rates. The increase is the result of increased prices from the contracted water authority, and the increase is just a pass-through charge and is revenue neutral. So the company's not going to be making any money off this. For this reason, staff requests the Commission enter order number 10727, approving the revised interconnection rates. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rumpler.
Nothing further from DPA. We echo staff's comments on those reasonings.
Emerson, how long has this interconnection agreement been in play? I don't remember this one, to be honest with you. I just remember the one from Newcastle County, I guess, with Pennsylvania.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, this is the first time I remember being on the agenda. Of course, I could be wrong, obviously.
So if the last increase that we received from the Chester Water Authority was commensurate or near the same time as our last rate application. So the rate pass-through was dealt with in our base rate application that we filed 2 years ago.
Okay. Now, that was David Spate speaking on behalf of Artesian. David, I thought there was a plan for the northern one to eventually be self-sufficient and not be connected to the one in Pennsylvania. Am I mistaken on that?
Excuse me. Yes. Could you please come to the mic so folks who are not in the room can hear you? Thanks.
The interconnection we have the biggest one is right there on Route 7. We had 3 million gallons a day, and we were able to reduce the minimum takes down to 500,000 gallons a day. We've maintained the 500,000 because it's appropriate to do so for operational purposes in case we have any interruption of service in the Hockessin area. So having that water available to Delaware is important. So we've maintained the 500,000, but we are essentially self-sufficient without it, but it's for emergency use, and we use it on a pretty regular basis so we can, rest wells and practice appropriate operations in that area.
That sounds certainly reasonable. So with respect to this particular application, are you also trying to wean yourself off this provider in the same fashion? Maybe remaining?
Well, let me be clear. We're providing water to the city, Chester.
Right.
So the way we've established the rate was if we're buying it out of, Maryland, we're passing that through to them so that they're getting the higher cost water that way into Maryland. Will that go away? I doubt it. We may go to a more blended rate down the road, but for now, we're looking at the Chester rate as being the higher rate, and certainly passing that through to the other state is beneficial to the Delaware customers. So I don't see it going away.
Thank you, sir.
And to answer your first question, it's been in place since 2013.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have a question?
Mr. Chairman, I do. So my understanding from your testimony and the information is that Chester's rate went up in 2024, and you're looking at making this effective basically today. Have the customers been informed of the rate adjustment?
The town has been notified, so this price goes to the town, not to the individual customer, so we notified the town.
Okay, fair enough. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
And just to clarify, the rate, we received a letter in September. It became effective January 1st, reflected in the bill in March. So it is quite a protracted period.
Commissioner Korea?
I don't have a question, but if there are no other questions, I'll move that we adopt the order number 10727.
I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All five voted aye. That's unanimous and it's approved. Thank you all very much, Ms.
Thank you
Anderson.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. And number 4 is in the matter of the adoption of rules and regulations to implement the provisions of 26 Delaware Code, Chapter 10, relating to the creation of a competitive market for retail electric supply service. Workman.
Thank you, Chair. Kate Workman for staff. On March 26th of this year, the commission approved a petition from staff to reopen Regulation 3001 after complaints from customers regarding third-party supplier charges noted by staff, Delmarva Power, and the governor's office after the customers' complaints regarding their high bills in the months of January and February of this year. Staff drafted proposed amendments and held a workshop with interested stakeholders. Staff received no proposed changes by the deadline and now respectfully request that the commission issue the proposed amendments for the publication in the Delaware Register of Regulations and ask that the commission approve order number 10728. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Mr. Crumpler?
No comments from DPA.
Commissioners, any questions?
Move that we adopt order number 10728 as proposed.
I second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All five voted aye, unanimous that the motion is approved. Thank you, staff. Is there going to be, are there going to be any surprises in that, by the way? Any additions?
Well, I think the publication opens the comment period, so we shall see.
We're hoping not, because we had this workshop. Fingers crossed, everyone got out what they needed to before we submit.
Matter of the application of Delmarva Power and Light Company for approval of modifications to its gas cost rates. Understand we have a settlement in this matter. Z Young, to present on behalf of, no, we have Jordan over here. No, Mr. Jordan is here, but I spoke correctly the first time. Please start.
Thank you and good afternoon, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. Zishang Shen on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company. This is the evidentiary hearing on Delmarva Power's application for approval to modify its gas cost rates, balancing charge, and pressure support fee, as well as make certain changes to its natural gas tariff. The application was filed on August 28th, 2024. As the Commission is likely aware, the parties in this matter have reached a settlement, and Delmarva Power respectfully requests the Commission enter proposed order number 10729 at the conclusion of this hearing. As a preliminary matter, the parties have provided to the Commission a copy of the exhibit log. I also have hard copies if any commissioners need one. The parties have stipulated to the admission of the exhibits into the record, and therefore I move the log and exhibits into evidence.
The logs, the exhibits are admitted without objection.
Thank you. At this time, Delmarva Power calls its first and only witness, Amber Perry, and asks that she be sworn in.
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Amber Perry,
And what is your position?
Vice President of Regulatory Policy and Strategy for Pepco Holdings Incorporated.
And what are your duties and responsibilities?
My team is responsible for all regulatory filings for Delmarva Power as well as Atlantic City Electric, our energy acquisition areas, as well as clean energy strategy and policy and implementation of our clean energy programs.
Ms. Perry, what is your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Business from Howard University and a Master's from Johns Hopkins University.
And were you involved in the preparation of this application?
Yes.
Did you review the testimony of the witnesses in the application?
Yes.
And in this proceeding, whose witness testimony did you review?
For Delmarva Power, that would include Serena Wilson Archie, Bob Cohen, Jim Jacoby, and Mario Giovannini. For staff, Isla Causey, and a memo submitted by Jerome Mirzwa.
Can you please summarize the application?
Yes. Delmarva Power filed two, and there are four parts to this. One was to revise the GCR demand and commodity charge applicable to service classifications MVG and LVG, revise the volumetrically applied GCR factors applicable to service classifications RG, RGSH, GGGL, and non-electing MVG. Third was to approve the proposed balancing charge, transition cost adjustment charge, and pressure support fee for the November 2024 through October 2025 GCR period. And last, number 4, approve routine changes to leaf numbers 37, 37A, 38, 39, 53, 55, and 59 of the company's natural gas tariff to become effective on November 1st, 2024.
And can you please summarize the proceedings that followed the application?
Yes. On September 18th, the Commission allowed the proposed rate and tariff changes to go into effect on an interim basis and opened a public comment period. The parties engaged in substantial discovery. Delmarva Power responded to standard interrogatories and additional formal discovery requests from staff and the DPA. In February, staff submitted testimony and memorandum from their consultant, Jerome Mirzwa. In March, the company submitted a request for a waiver of its requirement to increase the interim GCR rate to account for undercollection. The company's natural gas tariff provides that the company is to seek an interim GCR increase if it projects an under-recovery of the gas cost exceeding 6%. Delmarva Power projected an under-recovery of around 10.1%, driven primarily by the unusually cold temperatures in January and price increases resulting from the above-average withdrawals. However, the company sought a waiver because it determined that an interim GCR increase would not be in the customer's best interests due to higher than normal bills this past winter, and seeking an increase would not be in the best use of parties' resources. The Commission approved the company's waiver request on April 2nd.
And did the parties in this matter reach a settlement agreement?
Yes.
When did the parties reach a settlement?
On or about April 8th, 2025.
Ms. Perry, can you outline the specific terms of the settlement agreement?
Yes, the settlement agreement covers the GCR rates, the balancing fee formula, returning non-core or transportation service customers, and discussions on the GCR process. GCR rates, the parties have agreed to implement the rates that went into effect November 1st, 2024. In terms of bill impacts, residential customers served under service classifications RG, RGSH, GG, GL, and non-electing MVG will see a monthly bill increase of $2.19 based on an average monthly usage of 56 CCF. Commercial customers served under MVG will see an increase of between 4.1% and 6.5% on their bills, depending on the load and usage characteristics. Customers served on service classification GG will experience an increase ranging from 1.2% to 4.6%. Discussions on the GCR process, the settlement agreement further recognizes the parties' discussions of process improvements, which have resulted in multiple substantive discussions, and Delmarva Power's implementation of agreed-upon recommendations as outlined in Schedule SWA-6 to witness Wilson Archie's testimony.
And in your opinion, will this settlement provide for just and reasonable rates for customers? And is it in the public interest?
Yes.
Why?
Delmarva Power staff and DPA have reached a mutual agreement on implementation of proposed rates following careful review, a formal discovery period, and the opportunity for the public to provide comment. Entering into a settlement avoids the cost and use of resources associated with litigation. Moreover, the outcome would not be materially different had the parties proceeded with a litigated hearing.
Thank you. Ms. Perry is available for cross-examination.
Staff has no questions for Ms. Perry. Thank you.
DPA has no questions for Ms. Perry either.
Hey, Workman?
Kate Workman, on behalf of staff, staff would like to call our one and only witness, Miss Isla Causey. Oh, what? Causey? Isla Causey. I would ask that she be sworn in.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and business address for the record.
La Causey, 861 Silver Lake Boulevard, Hannon Building, Suite 100, Dover, Delaware, 19904.
By whom are you employed?
Delaware Public Service Commission.
What is your position with the commission? And in connection with your employment, have you performed certain review and investigation in this docket? And as part of your duties and responsibilities, on February 7th, 2025, did you file testimony on behalf of the commission staff in this docket? And has your testimony been marked and entered into the record of this proceeding as exhibit number 12? Did staff retain any experts for this docket?
Yes, Mr. Jerome Mirswa of Exeter Associates was retained on behalf of staff and the DPA to assist in the review of the application. In lieu of submitting testimony, Mr. Mirswa provided a memorandum stating that no changes to the company's proposed rates or the company's gas procurement practices and policies were appropriate or necessary.
And has Mr. Mierswa's memorandum been marked and entered into the record of this proceeding as exhibit number 13?
Yes.
Were you involved in the discussions on behalf of the commission staff that led to the settlement agreement in this case?
Yes.
And do you agree with the description of the terms of the proposed settlement agreement?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that the proposed settlement results in just and reasonable rates and is in the public interest?
Yes.
Could you explain your reasons for that belief?
Staff believes that the GCR rates proposed in the company's application and approved by the commission on a provisional basis should be finalized. Staff reviewed the application, supporting documentation, and responses to discovery questions provided by the company and found that the proposed GCR rates are just and reasonable. They were calculated correctly and in accordance with the company's tariff and prior commission orders. Additionally, the GCR process improvement discussions that were required under the 2023 GCR settlement agreement resulted in changes that were implemented during this GCR year.
Thank you, Ms. Causey. Do you have anything else to add? Ms. Causey is now available for any cross-examination.
No
Questions?
questions from Delmarva. Thank you.
Nothing from the DPA.
Any further witnesses?
No further witnesses. Thank you, Chair.
I don't think DPA has any
Do not.
witnesses. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Holloway.
I will move that we adopt order number 10729 as proposed.
I second. Mr. Chairman, yes, I have a comment, if you don't mind, before we take the vote. I noted Ms. Perry's presentation indicated that the basis of the percent change in the rate was on the average customer consumption, and the order says that it's based on typical consumption. And I think that in the document of the agreements going forward, we should use the word average. It's just a more mathematically discernible than typical. Otherwise, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Motion?
Oh, sorry. The motion and the second have already been made. Sorry.
No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 This motion carries. But before you all leave, I just wanted to make another comment about people. That is that Amber Perry, as part of her due responsibilities, writes a quarterly update about Delmarva Power and Light. And I was so doggone impressed with the last quarter that you wrote. It was just so thorough and so informative. I really enjoyed it, and I just wanted to let you know that a lot of people probably appreciated the work you did. So thank you.
Slow.
Mr. Chair, if I could just amplify that again. Yes, on the update, but also the request I made to update the graphics that compared the bad debt to the rate changes with Delmarva. Thank you for providing that. And I want to congratulate Rodney Odoye for his recent appointment within Delmarva and wish him much success. And I'll give my personal welcome to Mr. Tweedy. Congratulations to you too.
Would you like to make any public announcement about what sort of shifts are happening in the company?
Yes. So we currently have two shifts. I think one more direct than the other. So as many of you know, we had Phil Vavala, who was our region president. He has retired. I have talked to him, and he's quite happy and relaxed when I spoke to him. So we will need to fill that specific role, and then also Mr. Rodney Odoye, who is our Senior Vice President of Government, Regulatory, and External Affairs, has been transitioned over to be our Chief Operating Officer of Pepco Holdings Incorporated. So great move for him. He's been with the company a long time. So those are two, I would say, very significant changes in the organization. And we will see what changes are made here, and we'll be looking forward to bringing in the new leaders, for each of you to meet here soon. So I've heard that's going to happen pretty quickly. So more to come here, hopefully in short order.
Thank you very much for that update. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Hardigan?
Thank you, Chairman Winslow. Commissioner Gray stole my thunder a little bit. I wanted to formally welcome Jameson. He's very familiar with what we do here, of course, which is great news for us. He can hit the ground running. And I did want to extend my thanks and appreciation to Ruth Ann Price for the many months that she served in the acting role of the DPA.
Is she retired or is she still working
Still
with
with
the DPA?
the DPA.
Oh, good, good, good.
He'll probably be here next meeting. So.
Oh, great, great. That's good news.
And our next meeting is June 18th.
Wow. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.